You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew Kouba.
My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Dwight Lindsay.
And we are here to talk about a community-led X-Wing prize support and the developing XWA beta points meta. So,
Yeah.
But hey, just to kick it off, Dwight, thank you so much for joining us, taking the time to be on with us tonight. I'm just curious, how did you get an X-Wing?
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. I really appreciate it. Big fan of both of you. And, it's a privilege to be on here. First got into X-Wing, actually, just a few years back, right? Basically 2 months after 2.5 was officially released. I've been collecting the models actually since day one. I bought the first 3 waves of X-Wing and was basically a kitchen top player, me and my best friend. And I wasn't very tech savvy, so I couldn't go out, and I didn't know where to find groups to play. So I just basically bought and collect models and played with my one buddy until he moved away, and then kind of packed everything up. And then right around the same time 2.5 was released, I bought a house with my wife, and I was unpacking all my dozens and dozens of ships, and she was like, I think you really need to start to learn how to play this game, or basically get rid of them.
Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So by then, now I was at least knew how to use Facebook, and I searched. My area that I live in is called Durham. I was like Durham X-Wing, and what do you know? It was like 2 board game cafes popped up. One played on Tuesday, one played on Friday. So I was like, I came out and basically. With all my 1.0 stuff, I sat at the table and the guys just kind of stared at me and they're like, oh yeah, you got to buy some stuff. So, but really right from there, I just fell in love with the game. Like I said, we have 2 casual game nights a week. I'm always out. I got it. I just dove feet first into the game, bought all the conversion kits. Right at the start of 2.5, as I'm sure most of you remember, a lot of people were offloading their ships for very low value. So I was buying up whole factions, like 3 or 4 copies of each ship for like $50. So I just loaded up on all 7 factions, and I just dove right in, and then started traveling to other towns for their tournaments. And I think I was about 6 months into the game before I got my first win on a casual night, and then another month or 2 before I got my first tournament match win. But
Wow.
So you were playing tournaments immediately?
About a month or 2 into it, because you got to remember, this is also coming out of the dark time, which we don't like to talk about. So things were just starting to pick up. So whenever there was an opportunity to go play, I would go. Like, we have some towns here, when they do their tournaments, they just do 3-round tournaments. Some do 4. So yeah, it was pretty good just to go check it out. Plus, see different players, different list dynamics. It was very overwhelming at first, seeing all the different list archetypes and that. But I took Rebels, I played them and played them and played them until I finally got the dynamics of the game down. And then I kind of made up this little rule for myself. It's I play all the factions, so I stick with a faction for 3 months, then I move to the next one and the next one until I cycle through all the factions, and then I repeat again. And then that just kind of gets me used to each faction, what each faction can do, and kind of how to counter against them.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's cool.
I can't believe that you started playing in 2.5, because then not only were you also doing tournaments right away, but you also were doing the Natties podcast as well. So you must have been really living and breathing X-Wing pretty recently.
Well, it was funny because my buddy Andrew Durham, he's the one who started the Natties podcast, and he just said he liked how much energy and gumption I had towards the game. It was like a little kid just eager to dive into it more and more. So it was hilarious. He invited me onto his podcast, and then I started doing more regular episodes. And next thing you know, he's like, "Well, I guess you're pretty much my co-host now." And we went on for about 1.5 years doing our podcast.
Well, yeah, that's
awesome.
So funny. That's basically how I got Nick to do comment with commentary, I guess. For me, just keep jumping on. Yeah.
Yeah. Can credit definitely everyone can credit Andrew for the podcast in terms of like we should do this, and I'm like, ah man, I don't know if I have the time. He's like, I'll help, and I'm like, great. And you have been doing literally that, and it's been great. We've done this is our 22nd episode, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that is a lot
Yeah,
considering we started. I'd say towards the like maybe the third act of the official 2.5
yeah.
kind of like AMG stewardship, and to now, I think it's a great benchmark to from where we started to
Hey,
now. And
you,
um,
For
no, I'm
sure,
just
speaking
because
I'm
of,
like
happy to be a part of this community and just just happy to be here. Yeah, talk with all of y'all.
mhm,
yeah, it's where your podcast has really shined for me because I'm an avid podcast listener, especially with the X-wing stuff. Is you're one of the few ones still going on. Some of my other favorite ones they've kind of tend to drop off where because of different things with where the game is AMG, but you guys have said like there's still things to talk about, different things, whether it's
mhm.
XWA or other things going on, and just kept with it. And I'd like to say thank you to you guys from all the X-wing fans out there that you guys keep going and give us something to look forward to.
Oh well, we appreciate it as well.
Yeah, thanks, Dwight. I appreciate. I remember meeting you. I think at LVO. I believe it was the Las Vegas Open, right? That I
Yeah,
met
you're kind
you.
of busy, and be honest, I was a little like, it sounds weird to say, but I get like I did at the time get a little like starstruck, when I meet like GSP 312 because these are people
Oh my
you
god.
see about on social
Yeah, you
media all
see
the
a lot
time,
of
right?
Yep.
Oh, it's almost like we have this unnecessary parasocial relationship until I finally get to meet you all and meet you, and then it's like, oh yeah, he's a buddy of mine. I've met him before. We've hung out or we've seen each other at a tournament or two, and it's just I can't believe hearing that, and I appreciate all the kind words. And
Yep.
yes, that was a stressful time because I played poorly, but then also I was rescuing GSP's stream with my computer and trying to help them, and it was a very interesting time. It was like my worst tournament performance in a long time. I
Yeah.
0-3 dropped. It was just like not my tournament, but yeah, it was very cool to meet you. You gave us some beautiful metal cards. I still have a couple of them. We've given away a
Yeah.
couple at our tournaments, and people love them. So I would really appreciate that as well. And that's actually a good segue, really quick. Talking about prizes, Dwight, you run an organization. We have our org with 312, but you run an organization that I honestly, and I say this kind of seriously, I would say in a way is maybe more important in terms of the community side of like day to day in tournament play, because you run an org called Lock and Roll. I think there are other people that help you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you tell us about what Lock and Roll is and like why you kind of are involved in that?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, once I got into X Wing and playing and going to all these tournaments and that, it didn't take long for me to get into the tournament organizer role. And, I dealt with like 3 or 4 different stores hosting tournaments, and it was all new for me because I'd never done anything like that before. And the first thing I noticed is that, like, when you're some of these stores you're dealing with, everyone kind of has their own different ways. Some stores say, okay, all the money comes in for me, and I'll allocate it out to store credit, and people can buy products in the store. Well, even with 2.5, there still wasn't a crazy amount of stock in the store that people wanted to buy. A lot of seasoned players already had everything. So I had to start thinking of other means of getting prize support. So it just started off with casual conversations with people, like just seeing what they've used in the past, what other TOs did. And through these conversations, people started just randomly giving me stuff, alt arts, tokens, templates. And at some point, I think it was actually Worlds 2023, I met Dion from GSP. And I was like, it was one of those starstruck moments. I was stuttering, shaking his hand, getting a picture taken. And, he's asked, are you a TO? I was like, yeah, I organize tournaments. I'm new, though, prizing's kind of hard. And he pulled out this box, and it was like, for me being new to the game, the biggest box of prize support I've ever seen in my life, just full of like cardboard, like a Infernal Squadron cardboard, acrylics, and that. And he gave me like 2 like overwhelming handfuls of this stuff, and I was just
Dang.
like
And like all the good stuff.
overwhelmed. Yeah, I was just like, wow, this is so crazy. This guy I just met is giving me all this stuff, just giving it to me, and I was like really appreciative. I told him thank you, and I walked like 4 steps, put it in my bag, and then I ran into Chris Allen. And Chris Allen's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, really good. Just started shooting the breeze with him." And he's like, "Oh, did Dion give you some stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, he just gave me stuff." He was like, "Here, I got some stuff for you too." And he went back behind the world's prize wall, and like he was those Y-wing templates, the Battle of Yavin alt arts they came out with worlds. He just loaded me up with stuff.
Oh,
So I was like,
wow.
I have all this stuff, and it's like, anybody who's ever like actually looked online with this stuff, it's not cheap stuff on the market. So it's like stuff I
Yeah.
can never afford as a TO to prize for my tournament. So I was like, I started hosting events and handing the stuff out for prizing. But I realized like, if I hang on to this stuff, like, I could be holding tournaments for years, or, maybe there's other TOs like me out there who don't know what to do or are looking for prizes. And I started talking to other TOs you meet on Discord, and I'd send stuff out every once in a while. And then it wasn't until last December that I was like, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with Facebook and Discord. Like maybe I should actually start a group and start a little network. One TO has something you can give to another TO, and that's kind of how Lock and Roll got started. And basically within the first month we had like 100 members, and I had people message me constantly offering what they could do to support the community, because I made the message pretty clear from the start, like it's a X-wing community group for the community to support the community. And I had people offering to paint ships, send them to me. I had one gentleman who did up a bunch of TIE fighters and defenders with LED lights for me,
Oh,
alt
cool.
arts.
Oh, I want one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the community just started coming out. So now it's just like it's we just post, and I've been going around. I've had a little side mission of trying to visit every GT in North America I can, and trying to supply them with prizing as well, because I think a lot of people are tired of the GT prizing at this point. So I try and cycle up the prize pool there, and I always make sure to talk to the TO and see if they're willing to donate some of that GT prizing to the group, because there's a lot of countries out there that unfortunately never got GTs and will never see this prizing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been working with Brazil and some of the other countries on trying to get them, the sparkly dice, the marble dice, the flashy alt arts, and things
That
like
is
that.
so cool.
Wow. That's admirable work, man. It's hard.
Oh, it is, because as you know, shipping is never easy, especially to other
Oh,
countries.
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I mean, and things go missing, and I when I ship Patreon stuff, I ship a lot to Canada and these little small little bubble mailers, just because the sorting machines at the post office like rip apart letters,
Yeah, the
and
US ones.
95% of the time it'll arrive in the mailbox of the person in Canada, no problem. But 1 out of 10 times, right, or you know, it'll come back and be like, you need a customs form for this. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, really? This is a letter. It just has a little bit of bubble wrap on the inside so you guys don't rip it apart. And just even little things like that, you're like, man, it's just, you never know what's going to happen. The consistency is all over the place.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, shipping is one thing, but why do you think prices are like, it might sound dumb to even ask this question, but it's important to kind of acknowledge like prizes directly correlate to the longevity and sustainability of people having interest in gaming. So why do you think it's important for X-Wing, especially now, in like gaming in general?
Well, I think it comes to the one point that I brought up at the beginning, where if you're just a general store doing store credit, unless you have avid gamers who are just into everything and can spend that money at the store, there's nothing really driving them to come out. And I think most X-wing players are collectors at heart, whether it's you got to have 6 of every ship, or you want all the official templates, or you're collecting the tokens, the alt arts. It becomes a little bit of like a mission for you to try and collect these things. And by having variable prizes like these at tournaments, I think it's just that little bit extra to draw that person out who was thinking, well, maybe I'd go, but I don't really need any store credit. But those 2018 Shield tokens look pretty nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. Andrew, why do you like, what's your relationship with like with prizes like for X-Wing?
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I think prizes also you come down. It's a competitive sport, so you want to be rewarded for your progress that you make in the game. I honestly think too that a lot of these prizes in general have kind of had this cool transitive effect in X-Wing where it is a community about like kind of sharing your swag with other players, especially when you go to these GTs or these bigger events like Worlds. Like I remember playing a game with Dwight and you gave me a set of templates curved and straight for the bombers that had the lock and roll like logo on them for when you drop bombs. It had like a little handle so you can pick it up and place it. Like every game that I've played at some of these like larger events, especially when you have like international players coming, everyone's exchanging prizes with each other at the beginning of the game. This is where I have a 3D printer, so I was able to make a bunch of 312 stuff, and it makes not only the events more fun, but then it are these tokens that you can kind of share with other people that you meet as you like build this bond, and it makes the game kind of come alive a little bit more.
Wow, that's great. I love that. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
true. I
we're stealing
didn't even
that.
think that. Yeah.
Putting that on a t-shirt. It'll be in small font, but we'll be putting that on a t-shirt for sure.
Yeah. That'll be on the
uh
back of, yeah, a prize card that you can hand out.
yeah. So Andrew, I got it. So I'm gonna tell you maybe a little bit of context that you didn't get with why another reason why of the few that Dwight is here is that he also went to the Alaska GT. And I
Yep.
was like, we got to talk about that. And that
Oh,
is
for
not
sure.
only is Alaska awesome and really beautiful, but the fact that I'm not jealous that they got a GT in the Midwest got shut out besides Gen Con. I'm not jealous of that at all, but I think that's so fascinating. So what was that trip like? And could you kind of just tell us about, just maybe just talk about it, like at the GT experience there and, what was it like to go to a GT that was in Alaska, I guess.
Well, so first of all, there's no direct flight from Canada, so I had to fly to Chicago first. I think I was
Really?
messaging you on the Discord. I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm
Oh
in
yeah.
Chicago."
Wow, yeah.
So, but hey, it was good because I got to go buy a Powerball ticket, which I can't typically
The
do in Canada. So I
There
was
you
all
go,
pumped
well,
for
good
that.
luck.
But and which is only like I think it's like an hour and 10 minutes to go to Chicago from Toronto, and then it's like
Yeah.
a 6.5 hour flight to Alaska from Chicago.
Mhm.
That's a long flight, but I just took a melatonin for the most part, and it was pretty easy going. 4 hour times difference behind, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. So when I got there, I don't think I slept for like 23 hours that, like I was up for like 23, 24 hours that day. I got there. It was still sunny. It was like 1 a.m. my time.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say
uh,
midnight sun is still in effect, yeah.
yeah, but it was a beautiful area, like Anchorage, Alaska. Like, man, they have those gold mine shows about that place.
Oh,
It's like
it's gorgeous.
it has a small town feel. The food was amazing. I The first thing I had there was a yak burger, and it was like the
Ooh,
best red meat I ever had in my life. It was like a juicy burger. It was like, oh my gosh,
huh.
I just love this place.
Yeah.
And then I met up with. First thing I do whenever I go to a new place is go onto Facebook Marketplace, change my location, and I looked up, oh, X-Wing, and I found a guy in Anchorage selling 3 mats for like $50, and I was like, oh, done. I'll do that. I
Nice.
can throw that in my bag because as a TO, you never have enough mats. And I met with the guy, and he had all of his extra stuff like system open tokens and templates, and he's just like, oh, here, take it all. I'm not playing anymore. So for like $50, I probably got a couple $100 worth of stuff. So
Wow.
and he was all friendly about it, and he knew all the guys that were going to be at the Battle Zone Ursa, that where the event was being held. So he's like, yeah, just say hi, tell him that I said hi. And I went there, and like it almost felt like being in Canada. Like, I went to this place, I walk in there, I didn't know anybody except I recognized this one Brian guy from a few system opens, but everyone's just like, hey, how's it going? Where are you from? And I was like, oh, this is friendly. Hey, started talking with everybody. And there was actually two guys there from Texas, another guy from Hawaii that came up to
Oh, wow.
play. And it was good. We played the first 2 rounds, and then it's like, all right, it's time to go for lunch. And basically the whole tournament just got up. we left. We went to a bar. We were only supposed to be like half an hour, I think. And I think once we started drinking at the bar and having
2
foods, it was like an
hours.
hour and a half later or something. And then it's
That's
like,
so
oh yeah, we
funny.
should go back and finish. And it was a very, I mean this in the best way possible. It was the best, like, unofficially run tournament, if I can say that correctly.
It sounds
So
like it. Yeah.
the TO was the judge, and he was also playing, but like he wasn't winning or whatever like that. You know, he's at
Hmm.
the bottom table most of the time, but he just wanted to play, and no one said anything. It's like whatever, man.
Yeah.
There's like 18 of us. Have fun.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, like there's no point doing 5 rounds. I think we should only do 4. And this was after 4 rounds. And everyone just kind of like, he just asked everyone, what do you think? Do you just want to go into a cut? And everyone voted and it was like unanimous. It's like, sure, let's just do a cut. It's like the difference isn't going to matter. And they just cut to top 4 and then finished it out. And no, it was very casual. There was no diehard players there at all. There was
What were the
somebody
lists
brought their
like?
uh, so new AMG points. So you did see some gunboats and phantoms, and I think everyone's still trying to experiment on what the 4-ship Empire list looks like now. But I think it's everything's still kind of, I don't know, not well defined yet. But my favorite list, which I flew last night at casual night, was the 3 Sith infiltrators and a tri fighter. So he had the Siege of Coruscant Dooku, Darth Maul, and 066 with that tri fighter that gets the free locks on engagement.
Yeah.
And that thing I was just like, oh my gosh. And he flew it so well. Like, I thought he was going to win the whole tournament. It was like, oh my gosh. That's the list that really stood out for me there.
Yeah, so it just felt like the aura, the feel, it just felt more casual, huh? Just
Yeah.
people were just a little more relaxed.
Well, I'm going to be honest. So, those of you who don't know me, I think I've been to 7 GTs now in North America. I just came from the St. Lawrence Open the other weekend. I can say as a whole, these GTs compared to the World Open qualifiers and System Opens of the past, all of them have felt a lot more casual. Like, you're not seeing
Mm.
all the main players you've seen in the past. You're getting just a lot of the locals out, and you can see that a little bit in the list diversity too. That's coming out. A little bit of scum here and there, a little bit of
Yeah, it's
separatists.
it's interesting because I think AMG's goal, in a way, was to make GTs feel a little bit more like casual tournaments
Yeah.
that still had structure.
Yeah.
That's and in Alaska, you're certainly going to have a more niche kind of collective coming together to play there. You said you had a few people traveling like from Texas, Hawaii, etc. But it's it's Alaska. It's not like you're not just flying to Alaska every day to play a board game, a tabletop game,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, and you take a few days. Like, I always, no matter where I'm flying to, I like to take a few days so you can go sightseeing. Like, I remember going to Nova, and I ended up running into like Duncan, and he's like, "Oh, did you go see like Discovery yet?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you got to go." He's like, basically telling me all the things I got to go do sightseeing. It's like, all right, well, I got to go do these now.
How was it though? Like the sightseeing, like Alaska itself?
Oh, beautiful. I went like hiking. The mountains there are gorgeous. My favorite, one of my highlights was flying back from Alaska. It was like a 10 p.m. flight. We like flew through the northern lights. Like, I had a window seat, and I'm just like, wow, like
Oh,
that's the northern lights. It's
That
like,
is
oh my
so
god.
cool.
wow. X-Wing, the way it brings us closer to nature and phenomenons like that, right?
Yeah.
Not every day you get to experience that. That's beautiful. Very cool. I've been once. I've been to Alaska once. It was
Me too. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Oh,
part
it's
of a
definitely worth the
cruise.
trip. I
Absolutely.
know Heaver was telling me I should go to that. I think it's like Delaney Park or Denali
Oh,
Park.
Denali.
Yeah,
Yeah, with Mount Denali.
yeah.
Yeah. Gorgeous. Highly recommend it. It's only out 10% of the time. So that it's not covered by clouds.
Mm.
Because it's so big. I was fortunate enough when we went that it was visible. And it's huge. It takes up like the entire sky. It's wild.
Oh wow. Next
Oh, that's
time.
cool. Dwight, what's your favorite like GT bin of the 7 in North America, at least, that you've attended?
So they're tough. So I was lucky enough to TO one in Hamilton, Ontario. I didn't get to play; I hosted it. That was one of my favorites because anybody who follows Lock and Roll on Facebook would know that we had a butt ton of prizes. We had this whole thing where I was giving out Republic credits every round to random players, and that could be used at Jabba's and Watto's casino to spend on different games to win prizes, and just
Oh, that's fun.
seeing people walk away with honestly like backpack full of prizes. Like that one kind of sticks out the most. Just because of that. But Utah was a lot of fun as well because I'd never been to Utah before, and meeting up there with the locals and getting some street tacos. They're all
Ooh.
good. Like it's just very memorable experiences and the people we meet. And it's been rather fortunate this year that my work has allowed me to travel to all these GTs because it fits well into my new role with the XWA. I think getting to meet all these TOs and seeing all these things is going to be a big benefit to my role next year.
Yeah, well, that's great. I think that that's a perfect
That's a good
segue.
segue.
Yeah. Since you
Andrew, go
recently
ahead.
joined, yeah, the XWA prize team. So, what has that been like? What have
Uh,
your first impressions been,
So
and
so a
what do you
little bit
do?
of a correction on that. So like I do communicate or work with the prize team, but I actually, if you want to look at it, I fall under Tim King under organized play. So I'm
Gotcha.
basically one of the North American organized play reps. So I'm going to be
Okay.
helping Tim kind of organize like stuff like the game night kits that we're thinking about, or like depending, we're still in discussions, but we're looking at things like tournaments, like what kind of structure we're going to have, from like stuff as store level events to like are we considering doing like regional events or state or provincials, what organized play is going to look like next year for the XW.
You
Okay.
know what it was, Dwight, is that the roll color for prizes and for OP support is the same color.
Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
we work hand in hand because like if we're talking about like prize kits, OP wants a little bit of a say, or wants to work with prizing on it, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you got to work hand in hand because you want to know how it's going to be structured, or if maybe there's going to be something in one kit that leads to something in another kit or something like that. So we work pretty close together.
Yeah.
Like we all communicate in the same server. So.
Well, perfect.
What's your first impressions of the X Wing Alliance kind of organization so far? What has that been like for you?
It's a little bit
Can
of
I say
mixed
mean things?
feelings there. It's
Yeah, no,
no,
please
no.
be honest.
The I love the organization of the group. You do a good job, Nick, of trying to moderate discussions to certain channels because sometimes things bleed over.
Hmm.
But no,
Don't I know it?
Hmm.
I see nothing but people with great intentions in there. Like there's,
Yeah.
Right.
it's just so hard being only a 2.5 player because I don't have the history or the knowledge of, coming up through 1.0, 2.0. So it's hard when I see certain things being suggested or talked about, where for someone like me, it seems like a step back, but I don't have the whole history to know if that's really what's
Sure.
going on.
That's fair enough. I would also say that's also kind of a superpower where you're not like held down by the baggage of the past,
Yeah.
as well, and that you get to come at it from a fresh perspective and from a perspective that I think is needed for players that really only know 2.5, because there are a
Hmm.
lot of players that that's all they know.
Hmm.
Yeah, most of the baggage really comes from the transition itself than
Yes.
the time of actually playing 2.0, the way people handled their feelings and the words that were spoken out of their mouths during the transition, I think is really where a lot of the baggage and a lot of I
Yeah.
think sometimes the heated conversations kind of stem from. A lot of people obviously won't forget that time, which I like to, because it's so far in the rear view now. But it's definitely, I think it is good that you didn't necessarily experience that.
I will say that because the transition was handled so poorly and the reaction to it was handled so poorly, I do feel that that's kind of also been a benefit for the XWA, where people don't want to make that same mistake again, or be the person that they were again if they didn't handle the transition
Yep.
well.
Yeah.
So it has been a lot smoother just from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, we have internally reminded people of that. We've basically been like, hey, in the past, some people didn't extend an olive branch and weren't willing to listen,
Yeah.
and we're not doing that again. So,
We're all
we're
older, a
not going
little
to tell
wiser.
people to kick rocks if they're not interested. We're not going to do that. Yeah, yeah. The language in response to somebody, having an issue or not being a fan is just overall been healthier and a lot better, and
For
it's in
sure.
my best interest that it stays that way, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
exhausting otherwise to feel like I need to babysit people and their
Yeah.
Well,
opinions. It's like,
I do appreciate the fact that when points are given in our conversations in the XWA, there's always like data with it. Like it's never just like just do this or just do that. There's usually
Yeah.
reasoning with it. So it's good. Like there's a lot of few times where like I'll see somebody will write something in a certain server about a certain subject and I'll just pipe up just because I'm curious about it, and like no one's ever disrespectful. It's like, what are you doing in like, my portion of the server? It's like, no, here's kind of like why we're thinking about this, or like there's things leading up to it, and this is kind of what's happened in the past to lead us to kind of feel or think that this is how it should be now. And it's been good. It's a real learning curve. Every like, I don't know, it's like especially on the OP side, it's just great hearing because like sure I travel to a lot of North American events. I feel like I have a good understanding of North America OP, but like Poland OP, like or UK OP, like I have no idea how they do things. And
Yeah.
when I talk to like someone like Tim, who was like big into Warhammer and all these other tournaments, when he starts explaining like we get into discussions on MOV versus SOS and like what buys mean and how they affect certain things. He just has so much knowledge, and it's great. Like really makes it like makes you understand when he's expressing his points.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. What are your hopes maybe for X-Wing in 2025 and beyond as it kind of relates to the community-led effort?
I My hopes is that we take a nice slow gradual approach. Sometimes people give great ideas, and I think those ideas are great long-term plans, but it's stepping stones to get there. Like when I first started having discussions about organized play, we had discussions about like okay, let's start off with like a 5 layered system, whatever it is, like store champs, provincial, regional, nationals, like all this. And I was like, well, maybe like for our first go, like maybe we should discuss more like something similar to AMG, like store champ, world open qualifiers, worlds with like an LCQ. So planning things out and like how we get there, like that's the approach I like to see. And if we can do a nice competitive season next year that's multi-layered, maybe with I don't want to see like personally I'd prefer not to see like an invite system to worlds when XWA takes over. I'd like to see it open, but maybe there's a way we can do it where certain level events give you buys or something like that,
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
incentivize people to show up. So I'd like to just see us blend into like a nice fully packed world championship next year with lots of communities having organized play prize kits, whether it be store champs, quarterly game night kits, and a few really big events to draw out 80 plus players. That's like my short-term goal for next year.
Yeah.
And then in the long run, take the numbers, see how many people are coming out, see how many people are buying our kits. I
Yeah. That.
do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say the store kit idea is great that y'all are taking that on.
Well, actually, I because I actually figured out how to use Discord within the last few years. I've managed to get onto like about 32 different X-wing groups, and so I'm
And
always
not
like,
ours though. I don't
I'm on.
know.
I'm in 312. I'm in.
Yeah.
I tried to tag you, and you didn't show up, and I was like, huh.
Ooh.
I wasn't even offended. I was just like, that's interesting. Let me try this again.
Yeah, it
As
depends on, I don't know. Yeah, I am in there, but
Yeah.
actually the only one I
Oh, I
know of
found you.
that I'm
Just
not in
kidding.
there
That's all on
is
me.
the crates. The crates is the only one because I never did get an invite to the crates. But
Ah.
other than that, there was one Discord, Ewoks, and that's London, Ontario group. Brian Barter's one of the leads. I was in there one day, and he actually designed uh, a quarterly game night kit for his locals where you get pilot cards. You start off as a rookie pilot, and this card has a checklist on there. Come out to 3 game nights, accomplish this in a game. And if you fill it out, you hand in that card to the TO or the whoever is running the local scene. And then you get, has custom designed alt arts. And
Oh,
then
that's
you get
cool.
your next level pilot card and you have to fill that out. So I was
That's
like,
cool.
this is really cool, Brian. I
That's
was
so
like, is
cool.
there any way Lock and Roll can get in there? He's like, oh, yeah, no problem. I was like, just tell me how much they are. I'll buy. So I was working with them. So Lock and Roll is soon going to, thanks to the Ewok Squadron, is going to have these game night kits. And we're going to offer them basically you cover the shipping and the cost of production. I think the cost of production was like a few dollars a set. Lock and Roll is going to send these out to any community that wants. So
Oh, that's
uh,
such a great idea.
yeah, I know.
We'll be sure to include resources for to join your Facebook group and anything else, Dwight, that you think would be
Oh,
helpful if people want to
Yes.
reach out
Yeah,
to y'all.
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So, yeah, a little side talk. That was a little bit of a side talk, but yeah. So 5 year plan. A world where we have 800 X-wing players. I'm not saying that's just for worlds, but
Oh man.
side events. All kinds of things. That would be the dream in 5 years.
That would be great. I feel like did you add like a couple hundred players? Because I thought like 600 was the
Yeah, I think the
what the
active
goal
player base,
was.
I always think it's around like, yeah. I honestly, I think anything in the triple digits would be great, and then
Oh,
anything
honestly,
200 or more would be fantastic, like
Well,
exceptional turnout.
800 though is that would be so
I mean,
amazing. That'd be
if we
phenomenal.
get people into X-wing, if there's a
that,
period where
that
we
that's it.
basically, get people to join, I think it's possible to get closer to 300 to 500. 800, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna poop on. It
No,
would be
no,
hard, but it
but
certainly
you
would
gotta
be
have a
Hey,
goal
amazing.
to aim to,
you
right?
got it right. Exactly. Aim high. Right now.
And this is
Exactly.
where, like, one thing with the XWA is when I first got into the OP Discord server. One of the things I think it was a gentleman from Poland actually came up with was a guide for TOs. It's like, you should start advertising this many weeks out, and then, every 2 weeks you're going to blast on this social media and that. And I was like, wow, that's a great guide. So I do believe at some point, a few of us in the XWA are going to work on a guide for helping people on how to attract people into the game because I'm lucky enough here. I teamed up with the Battletech group in Canada, and
Oh,
at cons I do X-wing demos, and the Asmodee OP rep actually gave me a bunch of X-wing banners that he had kicking around. So I'm still doing demos a couple of times a year, trying to draw people into the game. The
wow.
conversation is a lot harder now when people start asking, but
For sure.
it's one of those things though. As players, if we want to see the game thrive, it's one of those things that some of us are going to have to think about. How are we going to get more players into the game, at least on a little bit of a bigger scale than trying to drag your best friend out to play.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's opportunity to get new players, and there's opportunity to get maybe some people to come back
Mhm.
Yes.
as well, which is, there's a huge amount of people. If you look at like Gold Squadron's like Twitch follower account, it's like I think it's like 14,000 or 13,000 people. And the
Mhm.
Gold Squadron's only ever done X-Wing, right? So at some point, that's a lot of people that have followed because of the X-Wing content, right? So to be able to get some of those people back would be fantastic for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
and
would be
and
a
that could be a sizable market depending on how that goes and how they feel the XWA represents, what they were missing or the reason why they left.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, now is kind of the best time because at least some stores, a lot of stores still have X-Wing product, which is good. Like it's still on the shelves.
Yeah, a few. It's we're starting to dwindle, but
Yes,
a lot of
but it's
places are
growing.
online selling for a good discount as well, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
got to
now
just
is
make sure it
also
goes to the right hands.
that too. I was gonna say now is also the best time to fill in any cracks that you
Yeah.
might have in your list too, just because of all the discounts.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, we had a huge liquidation sale at a big gaming store here in Canada, and they had the new Empire starter set for like $10, and I bought like five of them.
Whoa! Oh
I bought
god,
five
yeah.
because I was like, at some point, a new person's going to come in, and
Here
then
you
I could
go.
just like, here you go, and like
Yep.
you're off to the races.
Wow, incredible value on that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 95% off.
Yeah,
I have two boxes, like big boxes full of ships, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I think it cost me like $150, and I was like,
Wow.
all right, well,
Oh my
price
gosh.
support for a while, and then as people are looking for stuff, it's like, here you go.
To be
That's
fair,
awesome.
I that's what got me into X-Wing is, I was at Barnes& and Noble when they were doing a 1.0 liquidation sale, and I was able to buy, like, tons of stuff for, 25 bucks. And then I was like, "Oh, I just have a faction now."
Yeah. And then that's where the addiction begins.
Yep.
It's like,
Yes.
ooh, where can I play with this stuff? There's more stuff. Oh, there's a 2.0. Oh, I got to buy this now. And oh, there's this. Oh, there's templates. Oh, there's Etsy. Oh my God.
That
Yeah, it
and
just
then
never ends.
and then you have friends that you meet that enable it. It's
Yeah. Me.
amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. Healthy enabling, good
Yes.
coping mechanisms for us,
Yeah.
Oh
good
yeah.
stress relievers, therapeutic pastimes for sure. But speaking of XWA, we'll shift the conversation a little bit away from prizes and talk about the point side of things. I had Greg Cash from Nickel City X Wing on, interviewed him, chatted with him. He's been a good friend, friend of the stream and of the community for a long time, years now. And we talked about, he's a part of the points team. We talked about a lot of the process of what they were looking out for and how, his impressions and everything. I'd like to hear from you guys about your impressions of the beta points. It's almost 2 months old now. Emphasis on beta because they're beta points, but we've had a couple iterations. There'll be another one coming in a few weeks, I hear, as a rumor. So, Dwight, I'll start with you. What
Yeah.
is your overall impression if you were to give it a letter grade? And what are some things you like and dislike?
Okay, a letter grade. So I would give it. I'll go like a B minus. And just the reason why is unfortunately because of the massive amount of GTs I go to, I still play mostly AMG points, just trying different things. So it's not very often I actually get to play the XWA points. Just because it's understanding the philosophy of generics, like low initiative with high loadout, high initiative with low loadout. As someone who's only played 2.5, it's a weird concept for me that unfortunately, it's like I'm only used to AMG, 125% power level standard loadout. So it's been taking me a while to adjust to kind of going back to basics on my some of my aces, but it's fun. Like I find whenever I fly a faction with XWA, it's usually five generics and an ace of some sorts, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, generics being a thing. Is there anything that you had mentioned is there anything that you really don't like?
Really don't like no, no,
Like for
there's nothing
example,
that.
like triple hyena bombers with prox mines. Is that something that you despise, or you're just like, that'll get changed?
So the
Maybe.
only thing that I don't like, and it's so sad because it's like a uncontrolled bias I have, is the stuff that, in my opinion, changes the game. Like the dial changing thing, like
Mm,
it's just because like
Sure,
I
sure.
like perfect game state. Like that's what 2.5 is kind of like taught me is like, okay, I plan my moves out well. Round three, everyone's going to be here. He only has like two options to move. Like, this is perfect. And then when someone could just be like, yeah, I'm not going to go that direction anymore, or something like that after you've already moved. But to be honest with you, I haven't played against it. It's just the theory of it that I don't like. That's the only thing that really sticks out to me. But like I said, it's an uncontrolled bias because I can't even complain about it because I haven't played against it. It's just the thought of it. makes me just gets me wound up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable for sure.
Andrew, how about you? What letter grade would you give in the things that you like and
Yeah.
dislike?
So I'm gonna go with an A, uh, on where I'm at with it now. And the reason is I think a lot of it has to do with just the current meta hasn't been solved yet. But in the time that I've played X-wing, this XWA points has been the most variety that I have seen of different factions, different builds, and different lists that on the table, and even at tournaments, and from what I'm seeing online. And that's something that I really like, that there is so many different ways you can go about building inside of a faction, where you can, even in like the scum faction, you can make a scum swarm, which might be also something that I hate about it later. But you can make a scum swarm, you can make a scum ace list, you can I would have to say like empire, it seems like there's one way to build Empire. Well, not like one way to build Empire, but if you're building Empire, you're probably putting Lieutenant Sai in there. That seems to be the consensus. Then also, yeah, you can go generics with it. You can go named pilots, and also to me, it feels like you can now play viably between 3 ships to like lists to 5 ship lists. I would say 4 ships is now, I think, the new average. And but you can also in separatists go up to 8 ships in your list. And I think that that's also going to be one of the negatives, is that for some scenarios, playing these like 8 ship swarm lists have a massive advantage. I feel maybe separatist was overcorrected a little bit, and I have no idea. I have no ideas
Mm,
on how to make it better. I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's even the most dominant, but it has definitely, I think, shown how strong that faction is and can be now.
gotcha. Yeah, I would give it. I'm playing in the draft league, and that's my only exposure to XWA points, besides good games. And I haven't been playing every single week. I've been playing Rebels at good games. So I've been playing Rebels in the draft league, Rebels at good games. It's nice to go back to playing Rebels again, and I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying playing like Aiden Fox from Battle Over Endor. You know, he gets an extra die when he's stressed. He's that B
Yeah.
wing. It's got proton bombs, prockets. He's fun. For 4 points, I've had a lot of fun with him, and I have a very narrow lens of games, like I think you guys have as well right now. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I think
I would
I think
say,
everyone does. That's why the lists are
yeah,
so varied
way too early. I'd
for
say
sure.
a B, because I think that's a kind of a I'd like I could go B plus or A minus, but I've only played against a few specific things in like a handful of games. Um, I agree with the dial changing stuff, or dial peaking and dial changing. To me, is dial peaking doesn't bother me as much because there's more ships on the board these days.
Hmm.
Dial changing does. I
Yeah.
played against a Republic list, dial the R2A6 to just change the speed of the maneuver, +1 -1. It's like, that's that, for Jetta, for Force users, it kind of blows me away, right? Like it's just very good. So
For sure.
we'll see about that. But I think overall, the things that I like is that you'll see if 4 ship lists are viable. 5 ship lists can still be played. You can
Hmm.
play generics. Um, I think what I would like to see, or that I don't really like, is that you brought up a good point, Andrew, about some, like, swarmy lists just being, you just don't have enough time in the game to overcorrect in scenarios
Yeah.
against 8 ship lists. So I think that can be tough when you're only playing 4 rounds and you're playing salvage and you lose 12-6 or
Hmm.
10-5 or something. It just feels incomplete. And I think that's been a 2.5 issue for a little while, where sometimes you're playing games where it just feels like you didn't play a full game. You played like 3/4 of one, and then you lose, or you win. And that's like, well, that's it. Next one. And so I think fundamentally, as we look forward to whatever we do with X-Wing as the X-Wing Alliance, I think those are kind of areas with whether it be points tweaks, rules changes, or scenario updates. There's room to improve and
Yeah.
all of those, and we hope and we aim to do that.
I
So
will say I'm having just the most fun right now, like list building, that I think I have like in X Wing so far.
Oh yeah,
And then
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was saying, and lastly, I no, actually, you go ahead.
I
This
was
is
just going to say that brings up a great point. Out of all the communities I go to, after a GT is done, there is usually a celebration as soon as that trophy is given out, saying, "Thank God we do not have to play AMG points anymore." So it's like, but it's funny, but it. I have not seen the community more excited for something like XWA points than anything else I've seen introduced to the game, whether it's prizes or events. Like XWA, the excitement I see for that is more than anything. People are just they're welcoming it. Now I am
yeah.
seeing communities, some are doing like the ban list, even though we don't have a ban list in XWA. Some people are in like I see a lot of tournaments going with that, like using that in list building, but even with that, people are still like welcoming XWA points over anything else, which is great to see that kind of excitement.
Yeah, it was definitely it's a good shout out like lifeblood. And I think like right now, I for me it's also exciting that the lists that I'm seeing are so varied and so cool within factions. Last I was going to say, shout out to the space tug coming back. I think the fact that the
Sarko.
the new just the generic, because you can put four of them in, or like four of them into a list. You can run a six ship space tug swarm with prox mines.
Okay.
They're
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
Love
just
it.
it's gross. You get to tractor them into your mines. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with some of the lists. I think also opening it up to the older ships, like the legacy ships, but I don't know what's the term for it.
Extended, I guess.
Extended, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The extended ships now are back in the game. I think has also been just an amazing shock that was needed.
Yeah. I have some lists for us to look at that I asked kind of our community to give us that they liked or thought was pretty good, for each faction from the XWA beta points. So I thought maybe we could kind of go through a couple of these together and kind of read through them and briefly talk about it. As I know we're heading to the hour mark, so we have a little bit of time left. But
Yeah,
how does that sound for you guys?
yeah,
Cool.
that sounds
Sounds good.
great.
Cool. So we'll start with Scum. I have a list from Andre, Bygone J, who wants to do the Scum list and talk, and kind of break it down.
Yeah, Nick, I guess Nick,
Yeah, go
if
ahead,
you want to
Andrew.
start.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Andrew.
I was going to say Scum is probably the faction that I have the least
Sure, I'll do it. I'll do
experience
it. No
with
worries.
now. Yeah.
No worries. All right. So Andre sends us a four-ship list. We've got Han, Ketsu, Guri, and Tapusk. Four different chassis here. So Han at I6 in the Scum Falcon has Trickshot, the Child, Greedo, the Mandalorian, and Lando's title. So Han's ability, if the shot is obstructed coming in or out, he gets an extra die. Trick shot gives him another die. And Lando's Falcon, if the ship is stressed and when he attacks, he gets another die. So the Force, Greedo, Mandalorian, he can reinforce, he can recover Force if he doesn't defend. He has a lot of mods, and he's only 5 points, and he has that 14 loadout. So that is, I think, a pretty effective I6 to get the large base for assault in there as well. Ketsu for Scum players has become very popular. Has always been kind of a beloved pilot in the Lancer class shuttle, the patrol craft rather, an extended ship that was featured in Rebels but never got graduated into Black Box or Standard. She's an I5 at 6 points with 11 loadout. And her ability, she basically, after she forms an attack that hits, she gets to tractor the ship. So like really strong. And at I5, she's got Fearless, 000, overtune modulators, and Shadowcaster. So overtunes to give her double mods, 000 to get an extra to get a calculator stress somebody. It's just a good control piece, very dangerous, especially if Han can line up, or rather, especially if the other two ships like Guri and Tapus can do some work. Guri has at I5 is the another beloved Scum pilot in the Star Viper, has 8 loadout with Lone Wolf and advanced optics. So because her ability, if there's an enemy ship at range, I think it's 1, or is it 0 to 1 here? 0 to 1, you gain a focus. So it doesn't have to be in her arc, but she can basically do a linked action or calculate for on her action bar, and then use optics to double mod her shots. Also very strong at I5, double repositioning. or sorry, not double repositioning, but being able to use the bendy barrel roll that kind of almost feels like a double repo with how she can be fit in weird places. Um, and lastly, Tapusk in the Hawk uh, does have access to multi crow, is one of the reasons why, the main reason why this ship is in the list. Is a an I5 Hawk, so all high initiative 3/5s and a 6. Moldy Crow and Protectorate Gleb, so can coordinate Guri, Ketsu, or Han. Hold on to focus tokens, and Tapusk's ability is really fun because during the end phase, before an enemy ship in your arc indicator recovers one recurring charge or force, you can spend 2 of your recurring charges, and that ship just does not recover that force or that
Mm,
charge.
brutal.
So force users, it's like what is it, like doctors hate this man, like, you know, force
Yeah.
users hate this man. It is rough with Tapusk. So I think that's really fun. It's a good list that Andre I've seen play on stream before, and he's done very well with. So next, let's see, we have Rebels. I'm gonna make somebody do my list because I love this list and I think it's
Oh,
really good.
you don't wanna talk about your list? Because I mean, you could be able to talk about, like, what makes it tick.
Well, I'll have you do Rebel Hearts list, Shampo's, and then I
Yeah.
can talk about mine. And then Dwight, we'll have you do the first order list in a moment. I will. Okay, I'm talking a lot, so I will do that. So this is a list I've been playing locally and in the draft league. It's a 5-ship rebel list with a lot of like really fun synergy and very good value spread across. We're missing one ship. Are we missing one ship? No, we're not. So it's Cornhorn in the X-wing. His ability, he can basically, if he's once he declares a defender, if he has a lock on the defender, he can transfer a friendly lock from himself to that ship. So everybody takes locks on him like turn 1. He has cluster missiles and R3 astromech, so he can double lock. In a fun world, he can cluster missile, bonus attack, and transfer 2 locks in the process, one to each ship. I just think that's amazing. It's been difficult to get because it turns out cluster missiles firing range 2 shots not as common as you would hope,
Yeah.
or being able to fire 2 of them is not as common as you would hope. But he's surrounded by a nice supporting cast. Gavin Darklighter in the E-Wing, my favorite ship. He's got elusive R3 astromech and pattern analyzer. He can lock beyond range 3 with the chassis ability. He stays survivable with pattern analyzer and elusive. And everybody gets to change hits to crits as long as he has that ship in his arc. So really strong, deadly piece to have in a list. And then I've got 2 A-Wings, Tycho with Lone Wolf, Composure, and Proton Rockets. Tycho gets to perform actions even while stressed, as long as he has 2 stress or fewer. So he can basically fail boosts. He can focus. He can lock fail a boost to get a focus for a double modded procket, or he can rely on the locks throwing over from Corrin
That sounds
to
deadly.
double mod a proton rocket. So he can,
Oof.
and with Lone Wolf, he can flank and be on his own and still softly double mod a shot if he's able to. Proton rockets, that one time very deadly shot. You could put HLC on him. I like Prockets just because it's a little bit reliable at 5 dice going through, five hits going through is more likely with Tycho. So I like it.
Yeah.
Shara Bay in the A-Wing at 3 points, whereas Tycho is 4, Gavin is 5, and Corin is 4, just to recap. Has Hopeful and Proton Rockets. Shara Bay's ability has to do with target locks. While she defends or performs a primary attack, she may spend her lock to add an eyeball result. So she locks Corin turn 1. He can throw a lock over for her to either use defensively or to double mod her Proton Rocket. And then lastly, Aiden Fox, BOE, B-Wing, with the standardized loadout upgrades. It's a trap parting gift. When he dies, he can launch or drop a proton bomb. He has proton bombs and prockets. So 3 prockets.
Rebel Deathfire.
Missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the Corin Horn. A lot of the synergies rely on Corin, but they can act independently as well. And so, yeah, I've just had a lot of fun with the list, and I think it's actually really good.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, seems
Yeah,
like it.
it's I definitely recommend trying it. You'll enjoy yourself. You feel like you get to do a lot of strategic planning, and it keeps you honest. And there's a little bit of risk with the dice variance, but the ships are cheap enough that you're not going to lose a game if you lose an A-Wing or something, right? So
And some devastating
necessary.
double modded shots. Yeah.
Yeah, some really that was three prockets. The Aiden's procket is the scariest because people will get out of one procket and get into his, even
Oh
though he's an
god.
I1.
Right.
Yeah, and his ability is also like while he's stressed, he gets an extra defense die. So he just constantly focus fails or focus links roll, and he can evade every other turn. So he's just impossible to shoot at
For
sometimes.
sure.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. So that's that. Why don't we
Yeah.
do? We'll move over to you though, Andrew, to do Shampo's
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, we
Rebel
have
Heart.
Rebel Heart here, which starting off, this has a couple more higher initiative ships with Wedge Antilles. It's the build your own wedge. When you perform an attack, the defender rolls one fewer die. Comes with Hopeful, Plasma Torpedoes, R3 Astromech, giving you an extra lock. And that's it. Pretty good wedge there. Harrison Dula in the B Wing. I6 with proton cannons, mag pulse warheads, and fire control systems. So you can choose whether you're taking that focus or the lock. Um, and Hera can also pass the focus or lock around. Looking at this list, maybe Hera wants to grab a lock and then throw that around. Arvel Kryn, those are both 5 points, by the way. And then there's two A wings. First A wing is Arvel Kryn, which is 3 points, and only has intimidation. Arvel's ability makes you attack at range 0 as if it was range 1. And then with intimidation, if the ship is at 0, it rolls one fewer defense die, kind of making it a little bit like Wedge. It's an I3, so we got a little bit of blocking strategy here and being able to capitalize on that. The other A Wing is 3 points, Sabine Wren, which has the Concordia face-off ability. At range 1, you can change ships in your that have you in their front arc, either to a hit or an evade. And then she's equipped with Daredevil, which is one of my favorite upgrades just from the ability that just from the board position that it gives you. Big fan of Daredevil. And then in the K Wing, which another one of those extended ships, finally making through with Isigi to Ketu. Their ability is friendly ships at range 0 to 2 can spend your focus tokens if your ship has it. You have Perceptive Copilot, giving you 2 focus tokens when you focus, and with an advanced slam to get you around the board and get you to a ship that needs to be spending your tokens. So it seems like there's a lot of you have a lot of abilities with this list, and allows you to take those target locks freely, knowing that you have access to the focus tokens later. K Wing also a lot of hull to chew through, and it looks like there is a good spread of ships for this.
Yeah. The Isigi is a good 4 point focus
Zeke, oh
caddy,
yeah, four
essentially.
points. Yep.
Yeah. And the K Wing. Yeah. So you see K Wing, you see intimidation. You're
Yeah.
seeing some stuff that in XWA beta points that are made possible that you would otherwise not be able to get, right?
Yeah.
We'll go to first order as Bender, who is 4-0 in the draft league right now and having a great old time, sent in a FO list. Dwight, we'll have you do FO for us.
Yeah. So this one is a very interesting. I love this one. It's full of bombers. So he's got Joel Gerard in there. So after you perform a boost action, you may spend a charge to remove one non-lock red or orange token. So that's always a great thing. Be able to just dump your stress in that. He's got feedback ping, so you can get those free target locks. Yeah, with ion missiles and bomblet generator. Followed that up with Scorch. So Scorch, when a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 performs an attack, it may spend a hit result. If it does, after defending, the defender gains 1 strain token. And that works perfectly with DT 798 because then basically you can start, when you perform an attack, you can re-roll 1 die for each ship that has a attack arc with 1 or more non-lock red or orange tokens. And Scorch as well has got bomblet generators. Breach. So breach, after you fully execute a boost maneuver, if you move through an enemy ship, you get a free lock on that ship. And if that wasn't enough, it comes with feedback, ping, composure, plasma torpedoes, thermal detonators, and scaled bombardier. So you got all kinds of control with this list, just placing bombs everywhere. But why have 3 bombs when you can have 4 bombers? So
Yeah, with
next,
feedback
Yeah.
ping, there's a lot of
yeah.
opportunities to get some free locks.
Oh man. And then
Yeah,
of
I
course,
love this.
Yeah, it's not a bomber list without grudge. So when a friendly bomber mine at range 0 to 2 detonates, each time attack dice are rolled to resolve its effect, you may re-roll up to one of those dice. And I always remember this effect being in tournaments where somebody had interpreted that where, if you're the ship suffering that, the person who had grudge would re-roll my dice for me and make sure that I knew that he was allowed to re-roll my dice for me. It's just one of those things.
Used to be really painful with chaffs and prox mines. It was grudge just having his way with you with the rerolls. It was brutal.
Oh yeah. So of
Yeah.
course, it has the feedback ping for the locks, concussion missiles, thermal detonators, and seismic charges. So basically, you can't move anywhere on the board without hitting one of these bombs. And yet, there's
Yeah.
still room for more ships. Agent Terex. So this is the one that has the illicits that you can kind of pass around. I've never actually used this ship, but I always like the concept of it. Pass around your cards, and it has proud tradition, and then the rarely seen sensor Bowie suite.
Yeah, and he doesn't. So he's not, basically his ability is blank. He's a 3-point coordinator because he doesn't have an
No,
illicit
he's not
upgrade
not doing
equipped.
anything, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we have Thai FO, and we have Muse.
So yeah, with a whole upgrade, got 9
Yeah, at the
loadout.
start of engagement, you may choose a friendly ship at 0 to 1. If you do, that ship removes 1 stress. So basically, yeah, hull upgrade, give you that little bit of extra life in there. So this is like a total control list. I really like. I'm a big fan of bombs, and then
Yeah.
you get those free target locks, and you're going to be seeing so many target locks on the table. It's like you're not going to know who has what and shooting at you. And
Yeah.
if this is my buddy Bender that I know very well, this does not surprise me. He
Yes, this is
suggested
your
this list.
Canadian Bender.
The guy's like a list master. He comes up with the most zany stuff. If I'm having
Yeah.
trouble list building, I message him and he's like, "Oh yeah, just do this." And it's like, "Oh, okay."
He's
That makes so
great.
much.
I love Bender. He's been a great part of our Discord as well.
Yeah.
And he
Oh, and
subscribed
he's a
earlier. He
big
was
community
awesome.
supporter too. He's like one of those guys. Every time I see him, he's like, "Hey, I got like a bunch of tokens. I just got made up. Take a bunch." And it's like, "Wow, okay, thank you."
Oh, good at list building and is a good guy all around. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. 6 ships in this FO list and a decent amount of health, good value, bombs, lots of free locks. You get a whole upgrade. You got torpedoes. You get stress removal.
Yeah.
You get to do focuses after doing red maneuvers. It's you get to boost in the system phase with what 3 of your ships, with 4 of your
yeah.
ships.
Yeah. Big
So
big
yeah,
value.
And
big
like I don't
value.
know how many people have like I've seen on the Lock and Roll Facebook group before XWA. They're like, I don't know what to do with like FO bombers with AMG points. It's like I want to put Joel Gerard on the table, but I don't know what to put on him. And like these are all like prime examples of like ships that you kind of saw but not really. And like there was
Yeah.
never a 4 bomber list in AMG land, so it's like just another good example of how the XWA has just done enough tweaks to make list building interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of interesting, I have JJ's list, Psych J7, who has been in the chat with us for a bit. What's up, JJ? Thanks for submitting a list. He submitted a few. I have the Separatist list, and where I could do the 8-ship list that we're seeing a lot of. We have a list that's a 5-ship list that I think would be more interesting to talk about than maybe what's so obvious.
Yeah.
So CIS in terms of the data is doing really well. Good to see CIS, which was statistically the worst faction in the game, now kind of maybe really competing towards the top. Maybe a little too good, but we'll kind of see what dialing that back looks like, as it's kind of a nuanced thing.
Yeah.
Um, 2 of the Flak RFOC SOCs, what a name, droid tri-fighters. They have afterburners, evasion sequence, which is essentially like debris gambit. While you perform a red evade action, if there is an obstacle or scenario feature at range 1, it's actually better than gambit. You treat the action as white instead. They have a linked barrel roll red evade, so they could barrel roll to white evade. That's a possibility for them. And contingency protocol, which essentially after a ship is destroyed, another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 with contingency protocol. May perform an action even while stressed. So it's like cutthroat in a way, but it's like in terms of the trigger, but you get to do an action. So I know Cad Bane, for example, in CIS has a similar ability. You get basically, is a way you're getting a ship is benefiting from losing one of its own. And I think for CIS, I think that is a way to compensate for lower initiative and getting initiative killed. But
Yeah.
these Flak Arfox are they are initiative 5, so they also they get to shoot kind of towards the top of the ladder, which I think is cool. Another thing Separatists don't have a lot of is high initiative pilots that are not Django and Zam, for example, right, or Sunfac. So you've got those two. Those are SL cars, standard loadout pilots. And then you have a bombardment drone, just one, the Hyena, which we're seeing a lot of the three in a list versions of these guys with proc spines, because the bombardment drones can launch out the front, and independent calculations in this case. So really got to be careful of this guy. He's only 3 points. He's got the 5 hull, and he can easily just park on a rock. Or does he have... yeah, landing struts aren't equipped, JJ, but I'm going to equip them for you. He can park on a rock. He can drop prox mines out the front or back. And if you kind of if you ignore him, he can get close to you, bump into you, drop the prox mine. If you go after him, he might be a sneaky distraction for the rest of the list. The last 2 ships in the list, Wat Tambor, turned down for Watt, as I like to say. If you guys don't remember who Wat Tambor is, he's that cool guy, that like robotic cyborg looking guy that has dials that he like basically is like a radio. He tunes his voice when he talks. He's featured in Attack of the Clones, the meeting room of the CIS. I always thought he was really cool. And he's actually the last, I think, separatist leader that Anakin kills in Mustafar, which is so random, but that's another fun fact about
right.
Wat Tambor. But when he looks into the camera with those cool orange eyes, that's Wat Tambor on the other side, looking very scared.
Just
So
dropping
yeah, go
some
ahead.
knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Star Wars a little bit, just a little bit of lore. It's the lore of the rings tonight.
That's
The
right.
lore
Yeah.
of the rings.
Nick is a good guy to have on your Star Wars trivia team for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wes. So Watt's got Predator, Impervium plating, and Solus 1. So he's a 4-pointer in that Belbalab. He's got the extra hull. So he's got 5 hull, 2 shields, Impervium to discard the crits twice if they're ship crits. Predator for the reroll, and his ability. While you perform a primary attack, you may re-roll 1 attack die for each calculating friendly ship at range 1 of the defender. So, if the Hyena, for example, is nearby and calculating, he can re-roll an attack die, which is pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Lastly, we've got a Roomba sighting. We've got this is the HMP droid gunship. This is DGS 047. After you perform an attack, if the defender is in your front arc, you may acquire a lock. Then if the defender is in your bullseye, it gains a strain. So that's pretty solid. Keep in mind, though, that the HMPs can only reroll an attack die per target lock assigned to the ship it's attacking. It does not get to spend its own lock. So it's like multiple FCSs, essentially. It has Discord missiles, Kraken, which allows ships up to 3 ships to keep a calculate past the end phase at 0 to 3, including itself. Energy shell charges for that nasty, potentially probably double modded 3-die gun. So yeah, good 5-ship list. You might, when you look at this in Yasby, you might be like, but then you kind of dig into it. You're like, oh wow, multiple I5s. You got the prox mines. You've got Tambor is going to be hard to pin down and kill, and then you've got this HMP that is going to just kind of linger and just throw shots at you. So a lot of distracting pieces here that could do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I think that's been the big consensus with CIS ever since the new points came out. A lot of people on paper were like, this looks like meh. But then, like, all we saw from the first few events that happened, the CIS, it really is good. Like, it's the way they explained it in the release. It was like, it might be too good.
Yeah. JJ also says that you could swap, because it's a 19-point list right now. You could swap the bombardment drone for the tri-fighter that allows you to re-roll dice, which I think is which one is that? T81.
Got options. Nice.
Yes, T81. Yep, is also another choice that has outmaneuver, contingency, protocol, and burners as well.
Wow.
So 3 afterburning tri fighters. My goodness.
Yeah. Say
Empire. Who wants
hello.
to take Empire?
I mean, I could take a crack at this.
Go for it. This is
Yeah.
lists also from JJ. Wow, you're so popular, JJ.
Hey, doing a great job building those lists. So yeah, starting with the Empire, we got 4 points for Flight Leader Ubel in the RB Heavy, and that is friendly ship at range 0 to defends. If it was dealt a damage card, you perform a bonus attack against the attacker. That comes with Disciplined, Sync Laser Cannon, and the Targeting Assist MGK 300. This list to me is going to be very tanky. Lots of hull there. It's definitely a good offensive piece as well, and especially with disciplined. And then coming in for the next one at 6 points, it is Captain Hark in the Gauntlet Fighter. Hark is after reveal a zero stop maneuver. If your equipped swivel rings are down, you must execute a one bank slide slip maneuver at the same difficulty instead. And then after you execute that maneuver, you must flip the swivel wings. So the Captain Hark is interesting. It puts you into really interesting positions in the battlefield. You can kind of do these weird 90-degree turns, which is really cool. That comes with clan training to give you kind of that free target lock. Director Krennic, which you set up the optimized prototype. So, like, perform a primary attack against a ship locked. A friendly ship with the Director Krennic upgrade can spend a hits, crits, or eye result. If you do choose one, the defender loses a shield or the defender flips a face down damage card. So this is just a great way to guarantee damage coming through just for having the target lock. And then also Beskar reinforced plating just to give you a little bit of survivability, especially since that Gauntlet Fighter only has 2 shields. So crits can be a little more deadly on that. Then Lieutenant Sai, because most Empire lists, I think people are just really excited to fly the Lambda, but at 4 points, ton of value. All you need is Sai just with the title upgrade, giving you that target lock. Works really well with clan training. So you can focus on, that's if you are doing the coordinate action, or you can do the reinforce action. Just stick around since you just have that 10 health. Tie aggressor. So haven't seen aggressors on the table, I think, ever in my entire time playing X-wing. So it's exciting that they're coming out again, and people are dusting them off. We have double edge. So after you perform a turret or missile attack that misses, you can perform a primary bonus attack using a different weapon. So you can use the standard one if you miss your shots. It's always good to have that contingency. Comes with a dorsal turret. It's a regular 2-die attack, but it's one of the only turreted uh, Empire ships, which is exciting. And then also barrage rockets to give you that good 3 dice gun. And then also comes with, finally, at 3 points, a battle over Yavin Wampa. So it comes with the extra hull upgrade. So it comes with 4. And then same pilot ability as the build your own. When you perform a primary attack, you spend 1 charge to roll an extra attack die. After you defend, you lose it. And then has elusive. So you could re-roll that defense die, and then has the new ability Vengeful. After a friendly ship at 0 to 3 is destroyed, if that ship is limited, you can remove 1 of your red tokens, or you can recover recurring charge. So even after you defend, you can get that back if they destroy any of the other ships. So it's kind of something that they'll have to shoot at. It's a good kind of Matador's cape for this list. If they want to spread the damage around, because if they don't, then they're getting a 3-die gun from that TIE fighter. But overall, this is a really tough list to chew through, and has a lot of really powerful 3-die attacks coming in from everybody for five ships in this list. So seems pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, and a note from the author of the list, the architect himself, Captain Hark deliberately does not have the swivel wing so that he is allowed to stop and he doesn't have to side slip.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
Oh,
Okay.
It's
okay,
not
yeah.
in the
Hmm.
list intentionally. Yeah, so you can exclude it. It's not an upgrade. You decide.
You don't
Configurations are
even
not
have to
required.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, his ability is cool, but it's really difficult to use with obstacles and
For
friendly
sure.
bumps and stuff. It's very
Yeah,
sloppy. I think in 2.0, when there's less ships, Hark esque ability is really cool, but it's
yeah.
difficult to pull off.
Um, Also, pointing in this one too, for the assault of the satellite array, you have 2 large base ships and 1 medium base ship. So you are covering a
Yeah,
lot of ground with this list as well.
that's true. That is true. We have a resistance list. Uh, Dwight, you play a little bit of resistance, right? You
Oh,
say you
I'm
play
a
all the factions a
Resistance
bit.
fan. I am.
All right, let's
Yes.
do Andre's resistance list if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. So we got what I like to refer to as cheap Poe, 5 point Poe. He's the one that can coordinate himself or others every other round. With the standard heroic because he's only got 2 green die and HLC, so he can pack out some damage there. Followed that up with Zori Bliss, an I5 to go with the list. Dorsal turret R4 for those nice easy twos. Wartime loadout and plasma torpedoes. I love wartime loadout on Zori because when you line up that bullseye with the plasma and you get the cannot cancel crits with the wartime thing, that feels so good. So
Yeah.
good.
Oh my god.
And next Ray with basically the standard survivability Ray build here with Rose, Finn, and Heroic that just comes in
Survivability
well.
is a friendly way to say psychotic killing ability.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this Ray is, oh my god.
But you're right. She could use her ability to survive, but she usually uses it to kill. She's not
She
a good
can,
Ray.
but it's not like Death Ray where you have like the trick shattering or whatever. Like putting heroic on there for at least the defense is good. Compassion
I
for
don't,
the force, and
that
then
is that a thing that Death? I always thought Death Ray was the engine upgrade, Rose, Tico, Finn, heroic.
no,
Like
it was like trick shot, shattering shot. That might have been
really,
two
I've
points
never.
ago. It wasn't very good because you didn't get the heroic in there on the defense with Finn to do the shenanigans for
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
this
reroll.
say,
version of Ray
I
has
will
been pretty
say
popular for a while.
this version of Ray I've flown against a lot, and
It's brutal.
it's either here's the, if you're shooting at it, it will just tank all of your shots, and everybody else will blow up your ships. Like it can survive really well, and if you're not shooting at it, then it's melting your ships.
Hmm.
Yeah,
If you could get one good shot without her having you in her front arc, you're taking a big step forward.
yeah.
That's the big thing is you need
Yeah,
to flank her to get to really actually get into the hole. If you start getting crits through, it's kind of a nightmare
yeah.
for her, but it's hard for
Yeah,
sure.
you
Oh, it
wanna set up
is.
your board in a way that, if it comes at your ships, that it will be jammed up in obstacles. Like, that's one of the only ways I really found around lists like this, but,
Oh yeah,
with
and
4
with that
ships, though.
title too, she can just keep like
She
turning around. She doesn't
Yeah,
care about stress.
absolutely.
It's like
Right.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
follow that up
Yeah.
with ZZ in the A wing. Basically, after you defend or perform an attack, you can spend your charge to gain a focus or evade. It has heroic, lone wolf, and proton rockets. This is a 4 ship, just punch you in the face list. Has the potential to be double modded on all of the shots. It's plus it actually has a little independence on its own. Like each one is actually a killer in hiding here,
Oh, yeah,
and
for sure.
yeah, like it seems like a really solid list. And the HLC on Poe, I'd kind of like R4 just to give him some options. But I mean, this list just hits hard. If you straight up joust, you're gonna win most of the jousts. I think with this list, with the initiatives and the firepower coming out.
Yeah, for sure. Cool list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Entree. Thank you for sending that. And then lastly, we've got Teddy Roosevelt with a hilarious 4 ship Republic list that probably does have some legs because of the torpedoes, to say the least. Does anybody want to take this one?
No, yeah, Nick, you can close this out.
All right, cool. So we've got Y Wing Yannick,
Oh yeah,
5 points now, with 25 loadout. 3 force, but in a chassis that's a little slow, a little easy to take down. But he's got instinctive aim, dorsal turret, proton torpedoes, weapon system officer, and synchronized console. I played against an Anakin very similar to this. He almost always has proton torpedoes.
my
What's
favorite
really good
ship.
about
Oh. My
Yeah,
favorite ship in the
it's
game is
it
Anakin and
it looks
Wally.
really good on the table. The Republic Y wing, like in person, it's such a cool ship. I only have one, sadly, but maybe I'll get another one soon. I'll just talk to Dwight about that, I guess.
I
That's
got
my
four.
that's the
I
option.
got
There
four.
you
No, five now. I'm trying to do a 6 ship list with
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh. Yeah, I somebody did send one of those as well, which I thought was really I think Tyler Teddy sent that as well. But what's interesting about this list in particular is weapon system officer. You fire your double modded proton torpedo, you spend the locker or you don't. If you do, weapon system officer allows you to get it back. If you don't, great. You use synchronized console, you spend the lock, you give it to one of your pals, and they have a double modded proton torpedo. So Padme Amidala is going to follow up in the N1. You know, she has that restrictive ability while an enemy ship in your front arc defends or performs an attack. That ship can only modify one eyeball result. Other results can still be modified. So she has debris gambit, passive sensors, and proton torpedoes. So she can take a delayed target lock, or Anakin can pass his girlfriend a synchronized console lock to give her a double modded pro torp if she just focuses. And her torpedoes are really gross because of her ability. You roll a bunch of eyeball results, like it's kind of crappy. it's like a dark curse, right? When dark curse, so I guess dark
Yeah.
curse is only for defending, but still, it
Yeah.
feels like the antithesis of that, the opposite of that. Um, we also have Gavin Sykes in the Naboo N1 Starfighter. Keep in mind, both Anakin and Padme are 5. Gavin is 4 with 16 loadout, whereas Padme had 22. Gavin, his ability is while you defend or perform an attack, if the speed of your revealed maneuver is greater than the enemy ships, you may re-roll your blank results. So he has proton torpedoes, composure, and synchronized console. So let me make sure I'm reading synchronized console right. After you perform an attack, you may choose a friendly ship at range 1 or a friendly ship with the synchronized console upgrade at range 1 to 3. So Padme would have to be close to Anakin to get the lock, whereas Gavin
Mm.
can be at 1 to 3 of him. Um, if you do, the friendly ship you chose may acquire a lock on the defender. So you spend a lock for them to acquire a lock. He's got composure, proton torpedoes, and synchronized console. Composure is interesting because it's after you fail an action, if you have no green tokens, you may perform a focus action. If you do, you cannot perform additional actions this round. So he could fail, and then Anakin could still pass him a lock, and he'd have a double modded pro torp. I'm just not sure composure is going to come up much with Gavin, I guess. And then lastly, how Plo can you go? We've got a Delta 7B Plo Coon and the Aether Sprite, I5 as well. So you got a I3, 4, 5, and 6 in this list. 3, 4, 5, 6. With Patience, R4, P17, and Outmaneuver. So yeah, four ships, a little fragile, but painful to defend against, I think is really the way to describe it.
Yeah, there's like when this trick works, it works really well, and we'll just, you're melting a ship off the board every round. But yeah, if something happens, well, it's hard because Anakin's guaranteed to pass that lock pretty much every time unless he gets
Yep.
jammed.
Unless he gets blocked, right? As well, he can get
Yeah,
blocked. That's probably the best way to stop him is just blocking him. But you're right. At least that first volley, he probably is going to be able to get that torpedo off.
but yeah, as long as you keep Padme in the back and she's doing her thing, it's like, oh,
Yeah, I know, definitely. I mean, those lists, I think, is a great testament to just how much variety and how fun these lists, these XWA beta points lists that people are trying and building are, and that's a really good sign to see that
not
variety, right?
not having a known meta in the game right now is, I think, that's exciting, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a few lists, like some of those Seppi's lists we've kind of seen copied and paste, but there's a lot of other lists that aren't, like people just having
Totally.
fun trying different things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, any final words before we do our outro here?
Yeah, just thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Get the word out about Lock and Roll and XWA. Check us out on Facebook. We're always looking for donations. We're always giving out stuff. So if you're a local community person and you're looking for some stuff to spice up your game night or want to host a tournament, let us know and we'll send you some stuff and set you up.
Yeah, well, perfect. And then we'll make sure to put any links into the description of this podcast as well when it's published, which I'll be able to start editing and hopefully also get out to everybody soon. So, first, thank you, Dwight, for your work providing community prize support with Lock and Roll, as well as joining the XWA organized play team. And people like Dwight and their selfless passion for the game are the reason why so many people enjoy the game of X Wing. So make sure to follow us on Twitch, catch us live, catch the edited content on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and of course, jump into the conversation with us directly on our Discord server. You can catch the news on the X Wing Alliance there. And finally, thank you to our incredible Patreons for making this possible. You can learn about how to become our biggest supporter in the episode description and join and get some amazing swag like the 312 dial covers, objective tokens, and more. My name is Andrew Kouba.
My name is Dick Sperry.
My name is Dwight Lindsay.
And thank you so much for listening. Have a great night.